control where you are, but I can't hear you well enough.
Okay.
So I guess it's okay.
Okay, great.
So tell our audience. Oh, you froze up, Joe. And Joe, if that happens to you, if you can still hear me and you freeze up, what I need you to do is, there you go. It must be the internet connection in your hotel that you're in. All right. Tell the audience here a little bit of who you are and what you do.
Well, my name's Joe Vanourney, and first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be with you. We've been Facebook friends for years now, at least 4 years. Never met,
That's fun.
and
Oh
I've been watching your show, and I see your posts, so it's a pleasure to be here with you. My name's Joe Vanourney. I live in Omaha, Nebraska. I did live in Los Angeles for 9 years, from 1995 to 2003. Came back home to Omaha for family reasons, and now I have a son and a wife, and so I'm in Omaha. But I've been going to San Diego Comic-Con for 20 years now, since about 1998, I would guess. I don't remember exactly, but it's been a good 20 years. I fell in love with it, and so I drive down every year from Los Angeles as a fan. When I moved back to Omaha, I did miss it for the summer of 2003 and summer of 2004. Was able to come back in 2005, and then starting 2007, I've been there ever since. So 2007 on, I've been attending regularly. Now, Now the thing that changed around 2000, that was 2007, that was about the time for San Diego Comic-Con where you could still walk up to the door. You could just drive there, walk up, go to the escalator, go to the booth and say, I'd like to buy a ticket to San Diego Comic-Con, a badge, and you just do it right there at the door and they let you right in. And right around that time, 2007, 2008, that's when things tilted the other way and it became almost impossible to get a badge. And that was about the time social media started. And I blame social media because that was the time where people could Twitter, so tickets are being released or bad. You can buy a badge starting at 10 a.m. on this day, and the internet would crash because everybody's shared, and that's, I think, what was the tipping point, was the advent of social media. But about that time, though, there was a year, 2009, or I guess it was 2012. I had still gone as a fan, 2009 to 2012. 2012, I tried to get a badge and was able to get a Thursday badge and a Sunday badge, but I was locked out Friday and Saturday. So I was devastated. I'm still planning to go to San Diego Comic-Con. I'm gonna be there anyway, but Friday and Saturday are the good days. I'm gonna be standing in the window looking in. I'm depressed, like how am I gonna get in? Everything's good. I'm just gonna be standing outside, and I started coming up with a way, like how am I gonna get in? I'm gonna get in. I'm committing. I'm gonna find a way to get in those other 2 days. So I was lucky enough. I found a website that was looking for press to cover San Diego Comic-Con. They needed freelance people to help. I have a journalism degree. I said, that finally this degree is going to come in handy after all these years. So I applied and got hired and got the 4-day badge and got paid to go to San Diego Comic-Con. So that was a change for me. It opened up a lot of opportunities and things, getting to do things and get into panels that I might normally have gotten into without having to stand in line for days. So that website was Comic Book Resources. I wrote for them.
Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about you.
Okay.
And how you got into all this. But we're going to go ahead and roll along with this. A lot of people have been waiting. Thank you guys for being patient, especially my loyal fans out there. We have a ton of videos to show you. As always with all of our shows, we're not going to have a lot of time of showing you the videos. But basically, I'm going to ask Joe some questions, and as Joe attended a lot of panels. If you're Facebook friends with Joe, I've been watching some of the panels that he has attended live because he was there was just, gobsmacked on a lot of things that we saw on what he was filming. And a lot of the images that I'm showing across the screen, as you can see right now, is pretty much prevalent of the bigger panels that were shown at San Diego Comic-Con. And you guys, in fact, will, if you haven't been keeping up on the news, that was released at San Diego Comic-Con, especially this image. We will talk more about it as we go along. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and try and talk to Joe, ask him some questions about things that I'm personally interested in. If you guys are interested in asking Joe any questions, you know where to type. You can get started right away. But in the meantime, Joe, let me ask you this first question, okay? And that is, it's so cliche, and I'm really sorry about that. It really is cliche. But what was your favorite panel in Hall H? And of course, we're talking a lot about Hall H. We'll talk more so about the convention in general, but we're talking specifically about Hall H. And Joe, what was your favorite panel in Hall H?
Well, that's an easy one. That's the softball question of the day, isn't it? The best panel in Hall H was the Marvel Studios panel on Saturday evening.
Oh, geez, really?
Right.
I don't understand why.
I know, right?
That would be your favorite panel. Tell me why.
They put together the greatest presentation. There was a rumor going beforehand that they weren't going to announce their Phase 4 slate until D23, which is next month. So everybody was speculating, well, what are they going to do? It's always a secret. They already said we're not announcing our Phase 4 until D23. So everybody's thinking, well, maybe, they've got Black Widow. They've been secretly filming that even though they haven't, officially announced it. So maybe they'll just say, well, we're not going to give our Phase 4 slate now, but we'll let you know like the first two of the Phase 4, or maybe they're just going to release the Disney Plus shows like the Loki and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, things that they've already announced are coming. So nobody knew what they're going to do, and it turns out they announced everything for the next 2 years. They put up the blank calendar. They put the dates. They had a calendar with the month and year for the next 2 years with the spot reserved for we're going to announce what's going in this day and date slot. And they just, from then on, it was like starting off with this date where we're gonna do I guess the first one. They skipped Black Widow. Black Widow is the first one, but they started with the Eternals. So they had the lights go out, they have music plays, the logo appears, they bring out the entire cast, Angelina Jolie, Kumail, what's that guy's name? Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah. You know what? Don't try to pronounce all their names.
Yeah.
I can't even pronounce the name of the guy that's going to be Blade.
Right.
And he's won an Oscar.
That's right. 2 Oscars.
2 Oscars. Yeah. And how awesome is that? But go ahead and talk about the Eternals again. What do you know about the Eternals?
Well, with each of these, they didn't really. Each of these little segments that they did where they announced the film, they were going really quick. There was no time for anybody to get bored. They would bring out the director, they'd bring out the cast, they'd ask maybe one question, maybe 2 questions, and then they'd move on to the next one. So they were keeping it going. I was trying to live blog it, and it was like people were like, why are you not posting more pictures and videos? I can't type and post pictures and post videos all at the same time. It's happening too fast. So it was going pretty fast. So all we know about the Eternals is the cast, Angelina Jolie. Is that the one that Rachel Weisz is in? I know she is. It's all jumbled in my head.
I was going to ask you who was the biggest name that you heard was attached to the Eternals?
The biggest name is Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie.
But there's about 8. There were about 8 people they brought out, and it's all a blur because they brought out so many people. But she was the last one that they brought out, and she was, of course, she made my wife cry.
Oh, it's Angelina Jolie.
She's like,
oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So the Eternals, and since we don't really have a lot of time of describing each and every one of these panels, especially the ones that you guys have never heard of before, the Eternals, you guys are, that's what Google's out there for. But at least once we tell you or show you the names of the movies in Phase 4, Marvel's new block of movies that are coming out, you will be surprised at some of the things. I don't have that these are not all motion pictures. Am I to understand that some of these are television shows?
Correct. I believe 3 of them, possibly 4, are going to be the Disney Plus miniseries, 10 episode or 8 to 10 episode miniseries, basically streaming.
And that's for their streaming service only.
Correct.
So,
Now the big announcement with these miniseries that are going to be on Disney Plus is that they did acknowledge that all of them, Hawkeye is going to be one of them too. That is not going to be a motion picture. That is going to be a series on Disney Plus. All of them are going to be part of the Marvels. Are going to be produced by the film division, not the television division. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Netflix shows were a different division. These things for Disney Plus are going to be produced by their film division. And are going to be part of the canon, part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're going to tie in. You have to see them, just like everything tied into the Avengers Infinity Saga. These are all going to tie in some way to the next phase. They're all going to be connected and be produced by the cinema division, the cinematic division.
Let's go ahead and talk about this real quick, because I don't have these pictures in order because of the computer glitch that I was having. I didn't have time to arrange this. This is how you separate the mundanes, who we used to call in the early days of conventioning, from the nerds. Okay, the mundanes are the ones who get, like, oh my God, that's so cool. The nerds are like, yeah, we've been through this already. Calm down. The mundanes are like, what the female Thor? Now that's and the nerds will go, yeah, we've seen it when he became a female. You're late. Welcome to our party. So let's talk about how this happened, for God's sake.
Well, they brought out the director, and
which is right there at the bottom of the screen,
he's the same director that did. I'm not going to bumble his name either, because he's.
I'm not going to try it. Watiki.
Yes. He's the same director that did Thor Ragnarok. He's coming back.
That's great.
The movie's called Thor: Love and Thunder, and they brought out him and Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, and they answered a couple questions about the movie, what's coming up, and then they revealed the big announcement. Oh, by the way, even though we hinted that Tessa Thompson's character is going to be the new Queen of Asgard, in the event. Well, at the end of Avengers, the Infinity War, Thor kind of passed the.
You're talking about New Asgard.
That New Asgard. She's going to be the ruler of New Asgard. Yeah, right. So everybody assumed that it's going to be Tessa. They said, oh, by the way, here's your new Thor. And Natalie Portman comes out, and they hand her the hammer, and she raises it up, and and the crowd goes crazy. So that was the big surprise for the Thor segment, is there's going to be a female Thor. As many people, comic readers know, that has been done in the comics, like you said, and so it wasn't a big surprise to comic readers. Maybe just to people who hadn't read the comics and had no idea that was coming. It was a bigger surprise. And a bigger surprise that they're doing a new Thor movie in general, just because a lot of the original actors' contracts that had expired, and Robert Downey Jr. is supposedly done, and Chris Evans is supposedly done. We can talk about that, and I have a theory here. We can talk about that when we get to one of these next films. So Chris Hemsworth, I think, enjoyed his experience doing the comedy of Thor, the comedic aspect of Thor Ragnarok, and he said, you know what, I'll do another movie if it's a comedy, and I think that's what this is going to be. It's going to be a comedic movie in the same vein of Ragnarok.
Well, you're going to have the haters out there, and we don't care, because even the haters will still go to the movies because it's a Marvel movie, so we can shut them up immediately. They can cry and scream all they want, but we know they're going to be at the front door, especially when they hear, the success of the movie in itself. Because, excuse me, I just burped. The Marvel movies don't seem to not draw anyone Let's talk a little real quick about, since we got these three up here, we already talked about this. In fact, in the middle screen there is Thor as a female, as she's depicted in the comics. So this is not a surprise to any of the comic readers. This is in fact Thor, who Thor has been running, in her game. How long do you think? A year, Joe? You think female Thor's been in?
I think it's been a lot longer than that. I want to say it's been like 4 to 5 years maybe.
You're kidding. Really?
I might be wrong. I stopped buying comics 2 years ago, and I know that had happened before I stopped buying.
Well, I kind of stopped buying comics like 10 years ago, so I was actually surprised to know that there was a female Thor, but I've known it long enough, and now it's open to the general public. Marvel Studios has waken up a lot of people who would have never gone to a superhero movie, and things of that nature, and now because they've been so good, the general public has now been made aware of these. Jerome says 3 years. Okay, so does Rose. Speaking of comic book collectors and people who are up on things, they both say 3 years. We have let's go to the left of the screen here, and you pronounce it because I'm not going to try.
Mahershala Ali, 2-time Academy Award winner, Mahershala Ali.
I like how you did that. And if no one knows who or what Mahershala, and I do mean what, Mahershala is playing, why don't you go ahead and break the news to the audience?
Well, this was the mic drop of the panel. So they had already announced all of the slate. They had it all displayed on the screen, day and date. All the slots that had been blank before were filled. They said, you know what, we're going to bring everybody out for a group photo. They had handed everybody in the audience some Black Widow baseball caps. So they had everybody put on your Black Widow baseball cap. Let's bring everybody out. So they brought out every director, every cast member that had been part of this presentation. So it's like hundreds of people on stage. And they said, oh yeah, there's just one more thing. And they introduced 2-time Academy Award winner Mahershala Ali, who walks on the stage. Everybody's kind of going crazy, but they don't know, like, what is this? What is this announcement? What's it going to be? And he comes out, and they give him a baseball cap, and they say, can you put this cap on? And so everybody else is wearing the Black Widow baseball caps. He kind of puts his head down, and puts his cap on, and he's kind of hiding the logo. Puts his head back up, and it says Blade. And then the lights go down, the music comes up, the logo appears on the screen, Blade. And the place goes nuts. Like that was the mic drop of the presentation. Blade's back. Mahershala Ali will be playing Blade. And
can anyone remember if there ever was an Oscar winner in a Marvel movie? I think Robert Downey, but I'm not sure. Have there ever been an Oscar winner, okay, in a Marvel, in any one of the MCU?
Well, Anthony Hopkins won the Oscar, and he played.
Okay, so that's Father Odin. Well, let's say lead role then.
Lead role?
Let's say lead role.
Well, Brie Larson. Brie Larson won the Oscar. And,
oh my God!
Played Captain Marvel. So she won the Oscar for.
What is
she won for Room. She won for Room.
Wow.
Maybe a year or two before, and then they cast her as Captain Marvel. And she got.
Okay, so Brie was probably the first female Oscar winner ever to be a part of the Marvel Universe. The first male, since we can't think of anybody, is Mahershala.
I believe so. Somebody can correct us if we're wrong, but.
Well, it's coming up. Even though we're doing supporting roles, and I'm looking for lead actors and actresses.
Yeah, there's been a lot of the supporting actors. Robert Redford, I saw somebody put up. What was I just thinking? Michael Douglas was in Ant-Man.
Oh, sure. Of course.
But so they go to the well. They got their supporting role. But yeah, I think for lead, you might be right. I think that other than Brie Larson,
okay.
As far as males go.
I want to do this real quick, and this is how I like to break up my shows to keep it running. We're gonna hold off on more Marvel news, even though there is a lot more to talk about with Marvel, and we'll come back. But I'm going to try and the whole thing, since I won't keep you here all night, and I don't want to be here all night either. But I want you, since I know you sat in on this, I want you to first off watch this, okay? And then you give me your impression of what you saw, because you obviously was in that hall.
Okay.
So you guys stand by. Let me see if I can get this running real quick, and you can see what it is. So here we go.
+30 years of service. Combat medals, citations. Only man to shoot down 3 enemy planes in the last 40 years. Yet you can't get a promotion, won't retire. Despite your best efforts, you refuse to die. You should be at least a 2-star admiral by now. Yet here you are. Captain. What is that? It's one of life's mysteries, sir. The end is inevitable, Maverick. You're kind of headed for extinction. Maybe so, sir. But not today.
Okay. I turned away a little bit. Did they show the volleyball guys in the sand, shirtless? Did they show a shirtless guy? That's got to be the most current one.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen an extended trailer. I don't know if we saw anybody in the chat room here seeing a shirtless guy, because I really wanted to make a complaint. Okay, we saw the shirtless guys during the first Top Gun movie. I was hoping there'd be shirtless women. I'm really disappointed that this trailer did not have any shirtless women at all. Joe, you were there. Tell me what you saw.
All right. Well, this came at the tail end of the Terminator Dark Fate panel, which was a 1-hour slot that Paramount Pictures had. I kind of suspected it was coming. They had hinted like a month ago that there's going to be some sort of Top Gun 2 presence at Comic-Con, but then the schedule came out and there was nothing about Top Gun anywhere in the schedule. So this was really the only spot where this surprise could have happened, because it was the Paramount Studios slot for Terminator. And then Conan O'Brien, who was taping shows and each day for Comic-Con, had released his guest list for the different days. And on Thursday, which he tapes about 3:30 in the afternoon, California time, had surprise guests. That's like the other days they had who was coming, the cast of It on Wednesday, Veronica Mars cast on Friday, but Thursday said surprise guest. And when they do that, that means it's somebody that they can't say, because it's going to be a surprise guest at a panel. And Thursday morning was the Terminator panel, so I predicted. I went online. I was like, it's going to be Tom Cruise, because that's the only person it could be. So, but for people that maybe hadn't read up on this, the Terminator panel's ending. They replayed the trailer for that second time. The place is going crazy. The lights come up. People are starting to get up, because some people only came in for the Terminator panel. And then Conan O'Brien comes rushing on stage. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Everybody sit down. So everybody's like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? And he goes, I just, before this panel ends, I just got to say, we got to bring out a surprise. The biggest movie star in the world, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Cruise. And the place goes nuts. So Tom Cruise comes walking out, grinning ear to ear. He does about a 3-minute introduction. Says, they shot the original Top Gun in San Diego. There's a scene that was shot at a restaurant right across the street from the convention center. It's great to be back here. I got something to show you. We've been working really hard on it. It's a tribute to aviation and naval aviators. Here's a first trailer for Top Gun, the new Top Gun. And then the trailer that you just played, screened for everybody.
What's the atmosphere like in a room of screaming fans or fans anticipating something? What's that atmosphere like?
Well, those are the moments that people camp out 2 days for. They want those surprises. And this year's schedule for Hall H, there was really only this Paramount slot on the first hour of day one, and then the Marvel spot on Saturday at the end. Those were really the movie studios kind of skipped Comic-Con this year. These were the only two big panels where there could have been surprises like that, and those are what people wait for. Is that there's always going to be a surprise, and that was one of them. And the place went nuts, and you could feel the energy just as you could in the Marvel panel. You could feel the energy from the crowd. Everybody was excited. Place went nuts. A lot of screaming. As
always, what I look forward to is the reaction from fans. It's nice to be on stage with celebrities. It's nice to feel the energy of the celebrities coming off of you or working off of you. But it's the reaction from the audience that's always been a big, interesting filler for me. And I just wish I was, could have been in that room to hear the screaming crowd. But I'm about to show another clip of something that I wish that I was in the room for. And I'm just, crazy and excited to know that this is going to happen. So if you bear with me, because I need your 2 cents on this as well. But I am incredibly excited about this. In fact, only because it's the only paid streaming service that I have. Because I really refuse to pay for anyone else. So take a look at this, guys, and be enthralled. And we're going to hear from Joe immediately after.
Have you ever been a stranger to yourself?
Many times. Nearly 2 decades ago, Commander Data sacrificed his life for me. These past few years, I really tried to belong here. But it never truly felt like home.
Do you know who I am? Everything inside of me says that I'm safe with you.
Admiral, I have encountered a woman. She came to me for help. If she is who I think she is, she's in serious danger.
Sometimes I worry that you have forgotten who you are. We do not.
You can't do it alone. You need help. You need protection. You need a crew. Be the captain they remember. She has no idea what she truly is. She's the end of all. She's the destroyer.
What the hell are you doing out here, Picard? Saving the galaxy?
Engage.
Hey, let me say something first before I continue with you, Joe.
I can see that, Captain.
Oh, wait a minute. I screwed that up. Hey, stand by. Hold on. I forgot about that one. Did I go back far enough? Maybe I didn't.
I don't want the game to end.
I can see that, Captain.
Okay, I have to make this announcement real quick. This is the reason why it's very, very important to watch my broadcast live, even though this broadcast is being recorded and will be shown on Facebook. I just got a notification while I was playing the Picard video that CBS has blocked this video from this broadcast. In other words, you can see it live, but you probably won't be able to see it on the rebroadcast. So that's another reason why you have to watch my shows live, because things like this may happen depending on what agency decides they don't like what I'm showing and that they're going to block the content. Joe, you were in the room when this happened as well, right?
Yes. And the same thing that just happened to you happened in the room. The place went nuts, and they thought the trailer was over. They missed the data part, the scene with Data at the end. Patrick Stewart said, "Hey, you got to rewind that. You all missed the end part," and they played it again. So what just happened with you happened at the panel.
I was in good company, okay?
Yeah.
Because if they block Jean-Luc Picard from showing anything to the masses, man, I am happy. I am proud. Okay, tell us what you saw.
So this was part of a 90-minute Star Trek universe presentation. It started with a 25-minute panel on the third season of Star Trek Discovery, moved into a little 20-minute segment on, maybe 15-minute segment on the new animated show, the Star Trek Lower Decks, and then it closed with this great-looking, high expectation-filled Star Trek show, Star Trek Picard. They brought out the production team and Patrick Stewart and 2 or 3 of the actors. Talked about the show for a good maybe 15-20 minutes, why Patrick Stewart's coming back, what brought him back. He's said no to this for years, and then there's something with this particular script and premise that intrigued him, and then they said, well, you know what, let's show the trailer. So they showed the trailer, what you just aired live. If any of you are watching on the rebroadcast, you can probably go on YouTube and find the trailer, or go on CBS's site and you'll find the trailer. The trailer reveals Brent Spiner's coming back as Data, but also, and that had been kind of I think there was news stories for a few months that had already leaked that. But the big surprise was Jerry Ryan is coming back as 7 of 9. And that Jonathan D'Arco is coming back. What is the character's name? Hugh, I think. Hugh the Borg. And there's Borg in the trailer. So they said, well, let's bring out. Yeah, Hugh the Borg. So they brought out those 3 people. Place went nuts. They sat down, and then after that, they talked about why they came back to this show. They also revealed that Marina Sirtis is coming back as Counselor Troy, and that Jonathan Frakes is coming back and is directing at least 2 episodes of the new series. And then I don't think they announced this at the panel. I think this came out maybe yesterday. Jonathan Frakes on Twitter announced he's also appearing as Captain Riker, at least one of the episodes. So it's going to be a Star Trek: The Next Generation reunion of sorts.
Okay, you just revealed his rank. Is in fact Riker a captain during that era?
Oh, it's been so long since I watched. I'm like, I don't know. You would know better than me.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about in the new show, because I think Picard is actually an admiral.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know if Captain Riker would be Captain Riker, or it'd be in fact Admiral Riker. I won't get into specifics because I'm not that nerdy, but I'm just excited of seeing this show. But like I said before, this is the only paid broadcast or paid streaming service, that I'm willing to pay for, that I already belong to because of Voyager. I mean, not Voyager, Discovery. When Discovery started, it's like, okay, well, I gotta watch this, and I still maintain the service. I haven't gotten rid of the service. I'm really happy that they're actually adding not just Picard, but of course Discovery is coming back, and they're also doing an animated series. What do you know about the animated series?
They brought out Jerry O'Connell as the moderator for that segment. He will be doing one of the voices. They brought out 3 or 4 of the other actors. They showed pictures of what the characters look like. I would describe it. I don't know if these have been leaked online yet or not, or released by CBS.
Yes, they do. They have shown pictures of the animated crew members.
So it has they have
management staff.
They have a Futurama similarity looking animation to them.
Yes.
But they didn't show any clips or footage or what their voices are. They did just reveal that it's not going to be. They're not going to joke. It's going to be a funny show, but it's not going to take Star Trek and make a mockery out of it. It's still going to feel like it's Trek. They assure fans that they're not going to piss on the Star Trek legacy. It's going to be treated with reverence, although in a funny, clever way. It's going to deal with the crew members you don't see who work on the lower decks, and as there's the main characters are off having their missions or doing what they're doing, is showing how the lower deck crew people are handling the same situations. So they didn't really reveal much other than the images and reveal the cast, and that was a shorter segment, but I'll withhold judgment to see what happens when the show airs.
Okay, I have a few people commenting they've lost the ability to comment. Another computer glitch, but I am seeing what I can do, and I may not be able to. But you guys keep trying. Can you at least, Rose and Jerome, I know you're messaging me, can you at least see the broadcast, watch the broadcast? Okay. All right, so while I wait for those answers, okay, so we know Jerry Reiner's coming back, John DiArco is coming back, Brent Spiner is coming back. We know that Marina and Freights are coming back. I heard a rumor, and I'm waiting for it to be confirmed. I'm sure he's waiting for it to be confirmed too. I have no truth in this, okay? It is just a rumor, so please treat it as such and don't type on your message board, folks, on your Facebook. Well, I just heard, because I will deny it. And that is Robert Picardo, who plays the holographic doctor, may be joining the cast as well, but that is rumor. And I don't know if it's true as of yet, but it seems like anyone who was capable of being alive during that era where Picard is still alive, in the 25th or whatever century we're talking about, is able to do a guest role on the show. Okay, so the possibilities are limitless. And let me see, what is it? Do you know anything else more about anything Star Trek related? How about Discovery?
Discovery, they brought out a new cast member, David Ajala, I believe is his name. They showed a still.
We know him as I forgot the character's name, but on Supergirl, he was something Jack. I forget, but he was British, but he was on Supergirl, and yes, he's joining the cast as well.
Right. So they brought out Sonequa Martin Green and David Ajala and the 3 producers. They just basically talked about how the new season is going to be, spoilers for those who haven't gotten caught up yet. The new season takes place 1,000 years in the future. So what started as a prequel series is now a sequel series. Or both, I guess. I guess that's how they're dealing with it. There's going to be a new captain of the Discovery who will be revealed later when the show airs. They're keeping that a secret. The big part of the big reveal, I guess, of this panel, the Discovery panel, was that they're going to do 6 new short treks, which they did last year before season 2. They did 4 of them, I believe. They were about 10 to 15 minute short films dealing. Each one deals with a specific character. They're self-contained stories that for those of you that watched the ones before season 2, they seem like self-contained stories, but then when you actually watch season 2, they were all kind of linked in story-wise to what happened in that season. And if you had seen those short treks, you got a better understanding of what was going on. He said the same thing's going to happen with the season 3. They're going to have 6 of them, and 2 of them are featuring Captain Pike and Number 1. Anson Mount and Number 1 coming back, so they're back for at least 30 minutes of 2 15-minute segments of short treks, and then the other 4 will deal with various. They didn't say what. I think they released the titles of the short treks, but not not who they were focusing on, other than the 2 that are focusing on Pike and Number 1 and Spock. So. We'll see what happens, and we'll see how this links the new season set in the future.
Okay. We are still recording. For anyone who can't see us now, you'll be able to see it afterwards, I guess, after it's over. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get close, I guess, to wrapping up, because there's so much to talk about. I don't want to keep you past the time here, but what was your favorite trailer that you've seen so far out of this, and have we already showed it?
Well, like I said, the studios kind of were absent this year, so there weren't a lot of trailers. I will say that the Terminator Dark Fate, the new trailer that they showed, which I don't think has been released yet, it's an extended trailer of what we've already seen. Plus, they went into another like 5 minutes, and they showed like sequences. I'm sold on this movie now. The first trailer didn't really do it for me. This second one feels the most like a Terminator movie since Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The other films, you've seen the other films. They're not very good. But James Cameron was live via Skype to introduce the panel and said, he's back and involved, and he's been heavily involved with the production of it. Linda Hamilton's back. Arnold Schwarzenegger's back. The new cast looks fantastic, and these scenes that they showed, I guarantee when the general public sees what the people in the room at Comic-Con saw, I think minds are going to be turned on this one.
I have actually seen that. Oops, I'm sorry, I got some feedback here. Let me, it's coming from the watch party. Stay on the page. Yeah. Okay, so overall, let's go for overall here. Even if you can compare it, I'm still doing the same thing here. Hold on. Let's turn that on. Overall, in your experiences with Comic-Con, since you've been to, I think you said 20 years worth. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not going to ask for your top, but give me an idea of what's your comparison to this Comic-Con in relationship to recent years or previous years.
Well, this was the 50th anniversary of San Diego Comic-Con, and so there were a lot of expectations going in that this was going to be the biggest, and they're going to do a lot of crazy special things, and there are going to be a lot of surprises, and there really weren't. So I've been reading.
I didn't know it was the 50th. Stupid me. I had no idea. And it being his 50th, it should have been. They're not going to be around for another 50. I mean, they'll be around for another 50 years, but we won't probably be around for another 50 years. So
in the weeks leading up to the Comic-Con, when all the studios started announcing, we're not coming. The Warner Brothers one was the big one. We're not coming this year, even though we've got a Joker movie and a Wonder Woman movie and a King Kong versus Godzilla movie and a Harley Quinn movie. Like they dropped out. That was a big surprise. But then Sony dropped out. Universal dropped out. Lionsgate dropped out. Disney said they're not coming.
Do you have
Lucasfilm.
any- What do you think? What's going on? Do you have any reason why they may have done that?
Well, I know Lucasfilm, from what I understand, Lucasfilm was going to come, and then J.J. Abrams, 4 years ago, before The Force Awakens, they did a big Force Awakens panel, and then the panel ended with J.J. Abrams telling everybody, stand up, all 6,500 of you stand up, we're all going to a free Star Wars concert. And all the cast came, was leading this parade, 2 mile, a mile walk down the road to this park where the San Diego Symphony was going to be doing Star Wars music. Well, anyway, the rumor I heard was that they wanted to come, they were going to come, but then J.J. Abrams said we have to top that event, and they couldn't come up with an idea to top the concert, and he said, you know what, we're going to. The press, the feedback on this is going to be, wow, that that was a good panel, but it wasn't as good because they didn't have this concert at the end, and that was that was going to be the story. People were going to be disappointed. He didn't want any negative buzz because of the.
Wow.
So that's why they pulled out. As far as the other studios, who knows? Warner Brothers, they're in this merger with AT&T. That that could be why they didn't show up, even though this would be the year to certainly have their panel. So trailer-wise, it was kind of a weak year. Television was still strong this year. There's still a lot of great stuff at Comic-Con, but the feed, I've been, looking at comments online. A lot of people are kind of disappointed, like this wasn't as great, especially for the 50th year compared to what it could have been. But I will say, I went to an event Wednesday night on preview night, and it was one of the greatest events in the 20 years of Comic-Con. They had a special.
Was that the museum?
That was the museum. They had a Comic-Con museum's opening in 2 years, 2021. But they opened for 4 days. They did a pop-up museum honoring Batman, and this event was hands down one of the greatest events in Comic-Con history. They built a Batcave in the basement. They had every Batmobile on display. They had every costume from not just the Batmans, but the villains, Harley Quinn costume and Mr. Freeze's costume and all the Gotham costumes. They had every Batman video game that's ever been made. You could play it in the Batcave. They had a room with LED screens all around you with a big punching bag in the middle, and every time you hit the punching bag, the 1960s pow, bam, whap would appear on the screen. They had a wind machine outside where you put on this Batman VR goggles, and what you're seeing in the goggles is Gotham City, and then they turn on the wind machine and you're actually flying in the air in real life. And so you're feeling the wind sensation, and then on the screen you're flying through Gotham City. They had a DJ with this giant screen, and it was like a multimedia music video presentation of songs with Batman videos sprinkled in. It was amazing. Food stations. And then they had the regular some exhibits kind of showing what the Comic-Con museum is going to be. They had a Mondo poster display of all different kinds of Batman posters. They had a Her Universe fashion show on display of all the winners from past years of all the winning designs. They had a Comic-Con covers, the 50 years of Comic-Con program guide covers that were been drawn from various artists, from Jack Kirby to Todd McFarlane to Steve Ditko, all these different Comic-Con covers on display. So this museum's going to be amazing. This event was amazing. So even though if you look at the film slate wasn't as great this year, and it's the 50th anniversary, and it wasn't as great as I thought. There's still a lot of great stuff there, and there were a lot of surprises, and it is what you make of it. I mean, one of the panels they went to that was great. They had Warner Archive Videos releasing the V miniseries from 1983 on Blu-ray. And so Marc Singer and Kenneth Johnson were there, and they were showing footage from the new Blu-ray, and talking about Kenneth Johnson's got a V movie that's been greenlit, and it's going to be a trilogy, and he's going to be the one writing and directing, and so it's going to be better than that garbage reboot that was on ABC like 5 years ago. So like, you know, it is what you make. You find these smaller panels, and there's comic book panels, and there's art panels, and I mean there's great stuff. You just gotta look for it. If you're going for movies, you're gonna, you know, you're not always gonna.
It's Comic-Con has always been overwhelming for anyone who's never been. It is going to be an overwhelming experience for you. But you know, Joe's more of a seasoned professional in attending Comic-Con than I am. I was eventually overwhelmed by just going every year, and the fact that the dealers' rooms, you know, the vendors' room is usually a mile long, and then you have to turn around and walk back. So it can take a lot out of you. The worst part about it is camping out for whatever specific. If you didn't have a press pass like Joe has, you have to stand outside in line. Hopefully it's not raining.
The Marvel,
you know, like everyone else, but no guarantee that you'll get into Hall H.
Right. The Marvel Studios panel, people camped out for 2 days. The panel was at 5:30 on Saturday afternoon, and people were lined up Thursday. If you weren't in line by Thursday evening, you weren't getting into the panel unless, you know.
Yeah, I'm not that anxious to see. I'm going to get the news immediately afterwards. I'm going to get video online that I'll have a better seat watching the video than being in the back of the hall. I understand the electricity and excitement of seeing actors live and in person, but you know, I kind of moved past that a bit, and I can wait until I see you know, film reports of what it is that they were even talking about. Much like the pictures that we're showing right now, it's like, hey, that's a great shot of Natalie. I would never be able to get that close to see Natalie as the new Thor if I was the last person in the back row or even halfway in the room. You know, it's much like Dragon Con. Dragon Con has, you know, big holes as well, and you know, it's just not in me. I can wait until I got publicized news on some of the things that went on at Dragon Con. Joe, I wish we could go further, but we can't. But I appreciate you taking the time to at least give us a truncated report of San Diego Comic Con. I've never done this before. I've never brought anybody online on air after San Diego, even during San Diego, and discuss San Diego Comic Con. So for those of you guys that were knocked off, I think CBS got mad at us because I showed that Picard trailer. That my people can't comment, but yet I got tech support asking why not. I'm like, oh, well, here we go. So anyway, I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll get to see you in person, dude, someday.
Yeah, hopefully I can make it down to Dragon Con and we can meet in person.
Yeah, make sure you book it a year in advance, because that's usually how fast the hotels go. But
I know how that goes.
You know, I was about to say the same thing. You know how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Joe Vanourney. Really appreciate you being here, my friend. Thank you. Best to your wife and your child, son, I assume.
Yes, and son and a stepdaughter. Yes.
And a stepdaughter. The best to them. Thank you so much for being the insider for us and bringing us up on everything that happened out there on the left coast. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
Good luck. Talk to you soon. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of our show for this evening. You guys have a great evening and a great week and a great life. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.